Hey man, is Dave here? Dave, is that you, man? No, it's John Smale. Oh, I'm back. You're probably thinking I know everybody's been thinking, what, were you guys drug crazed? Don't trust anybody over 40. You probably don't remember shit. Tonight's episode is on weed, pot, grass, devil's lettuce, Alice, Bud, Reefer, Spliff, Mary Jane, Wacky Tobacco, whatever you want to call it. Uh, this and Smalespace, where did it all fit in? Well, this goes back to Trudeau number one, Pierre. That is, it. He. Well, this is way before Justin Trudeau. Trudeau number two was born, and of course all is forgiven because he did legalize the landscape for greener pastures. But this is a story that started with Pierre Trudeau and getting the ball rolling, as it were, and he appointed the Ledane Commission, and Ledane, I don't know, Chief Justice Ledane, uh, had a commission, and it was to investigate and do a report on the findings of legalizing marijuana. And in the scheme of things, it only took 50 years. So, I mean, as far as history goes, I suppose that's not too bad. It takes time to get all the cronies lined up, so that they can make money and you talk about dealers. It's just the different mask on the same face. That's all it is. Now, let's get in my time machine, and let's go back to 1970, and let's hold on right there. Yes, pot was pretty much everywhere. I mean, even though Bill Clinton and George Bush didn't inhale, at least they smoked, and just about everybody I knew was smoking, whether they were professors right down to students, right down to high school students even. So, and that included just about everybody under 30. It was illegal, and let's not forget that part. If you were charged, it was a criminal offense, especially if you were caught with more than an ounce, let's say. And an ounce in those days, folks, was a bag. I saw a funny meme the other day. Says, do you know you can also put a sandwich in a weed bag? I thought that was so funny. But anyway, uh, it was a criminal offense, and it could mean all kinds of trouble for you in the future if you did get caught, like trouble at the border, trouble getting your medical license or your law degree or whatever. So there was that sort of gray black area surrounding it, and I stood on that blurry line of caution when it came to anything to do with Smalespace. I mean, I had a business to protect. I had a staff of 10 who were depending on their income, and if we were shut down or even embroiled in some kind of a scandal or charges, as it were, it could spell doom for our reputation. And let me say here that we did have a good reputation. We worked very hard at dispelling any myths surrounding Smalespace and making it a transparent place. We had good reputation with our business neighbors, with the Downtown Business Association, uh, with City Hall, et cetera, et cetera. And it was very important in a college town because, if you get in trouble, they're going to keep the students away from you. And so my the way I handled it was, if anybody was so inclined to light up, I'd say, no, 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 not here. You've got to go. Victoria Park is just a half a block away, one of Canada's most beautiful downtown parks, and there's two beautiful cathedrals just up the street here with leafy gardens and trees and lawns and all that stuff. So there were lots of places, including alleyways, around there to smoke. So it was a pretty effective policy I had. People seemed to respect me. They seemed to respect the club and the whole idea that this was my stance and that was the deal. And it all worked out just fine until the big night, the big crazy night Well, here's how it went. Billy Anderson, who was working the door that night, came to me and he says, "Hey, John, like there's a couple of guys here. They're real sketchy types." And he says, "I think they're cops. I think they're narcs. They're pigs, that kind of thing." And I said, "What do you mean, Bill?" He said, "Well, who else wears a baseball jacket to a coffee house?" And he was right about that. Cops are the hippest guys when it comes to fitting in with the crowd. And they had these Toronto Argonaut jackets on or something like that. And so I thought, well, I better figure out what the hell's going on here. So I asked them to during intermission. I asked them to step outside. Could we have a chat? And they said, yeah. So I said, I from what I understand, if you guys are cops, if you're here on narcotics investigation, you have to tell me that, right? They said, yeah. We are cops. We are here acting on a complaint. And they said, we've been here for a couple hours and we're having a great time. The music is fantastic. In fact, we ordered coffee in there. It's probably getting cold. I said, don't worry about that. Are you going to do anything about this little investigation? He said, no, we're not going to do anything. And I said, well, you're going to write a report? What are you going to do? He said, well, we're going to write a great report to the police and to RCMP and anybody else that will listen that this is a great place. That was a false complaint. Somebody is out to get your ass. And so I said, well, hey, that sounds pretty good to me. Come on back in and stay for the night. And sure enough, they had a great time. So that was the big bust that never happened, folks, because there was nothing to happen. Now, was I, back to this consequences thing? I was afraid of being shut down. I was afraid of trouble at the border because I used to have to go to Detroit to pick up American musicians at the airport there, and so all that would have changed, and my trips with Lazarus down to Woodstock, New York, and Bearsville, New York would have changed, etc. Now, was I lily white? Was I pontificating? Was I a non-user? Of course I wasn't. I smoked pot with the rest of them, and I was hardly lily white. I was more like lily green. And besides, what are they going to do to me now? I mean, somebody's going to knock on my door and say, "Hey, Smale, you just admitted that you were smoking pot 50 years ago," and I'd say, "Well, the statute of limitations is 7 years. I think I'm going to be okay." So that's like 350 dog years ago, and I've come clean on it, and I've answered all those crazy questions. It's no more smoke and mirrors, folks. I knew you were wondering, and I'm here to tell you that everything's fine. Don't worry. Marijuana wasn't a gateway drug to heavier things, and that's my story for the day. Hope you enjoyed it. Cup of coffee here for you, and so those were the pot days at Smalespace, the big non-event. Talk to you real soon, folks. Bye.